What's going on, guys? This is Steve with Coffee and KOs. Welcome to another episode, and we are joined again by Lewis. We might as well just hire you at this point. You might just be a full-time Coffee and KOs guy. How are you doing today?
Yeah, we're good, man. Paddy time.
Yes, so we are going to get into the UFC's newest signing, Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. I feel like, is that like a tongue twister? Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. And he is a UK fighter. He fights in Cage Warriors. He was a former champ at a young age, right? So he's only 26 years old right now. I know that he held the belt at, what was it, 145? He held the belt, and then he eventually made his move up to 155. And he's been 3-1 since then, I think. And he even got the shot at 155, but he did lose to Soren Bach. Does that sound correct?
Yeah, Soren Bach, who eventually was hoping he'd get called up by the UFC, and Bellator took him instead, where he fought Terry Brazier.
Okay, because I looked at that fight for a little bit, and Soren Bach seemed to be a very good fighter, and I was like, okay, that doesn't seem like a bad loss on his record.
It was a victory that should have been Paddy's. It was naive, it was inexperienced, it was chasing the back for so long. He had Soren in so many bad positions the whole time, and Soren just used the experience. He's a proper Viking man. Walks out with the war axe, and they've both got slick groundwork. Soren's more of a wrestler than jiu-jitsu, but they've all got it down. And Paddy just inexperienced. No excuses for him. He chased it too long, and it's a learning curve for him. Wasn't really a loss for him, to be honest, because since then he's just looked absolutely indestructible.
Yeah, and that was definitely one of the things I noticed about him, and you brought it up, is he was chasing the back. That seems to be very common in pretty much all of his fights. He loves to go to the ground, and he is so quick to take the back. It was one of the fights that I was watching. It was against Decky Dalton, and Decky Dalton slips, and then freaking Paddy the Baddy Pimblett just jumps right on him and just works the back and eventually gets the ground and pound, gets the TKO finish. But he is scary. He's someone that you do not want to get a hold of you because he's 5'10", he's lanky, he's got that good frame. And I think that's going to be something where, as I was just saying, if he comes in at the 145 featherweight division in the UFC, 5'10", lanky, he's got a good chance. He has a very good chance. If he moves up to 155, I still think he could be a competitor there, but I think 145, he would be a real problem.
Especially with the stylistic matchups as well. There's not many 145ers with that kind of jiu-jitsu level and that kind of grappling level and that kind of person that can, all his he used to throw flying triangles everywhere and flying arm bars, and that's his style. It's absolutely crazy. He just flows wherever the fight goes almost. If you want to roll there, he'll roll there. There's no way to predict how a Paddy the Baddy fight is going to come out. And again, you said like the Decky Dalton one. If I'm not mistaken, that was in like the first minute or something. Decky slips, and it's just he just latches on it quick. The last one against Martinez was in just under 2 minutes, I think. Watched it the other day. It's just ridiculous. He's just ridiculous. And after does the phone to Dana White in the camera, he knows what he's worth, and that's why he's turned down 2 offers before, and he's ready now at 26.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome that he was smart enough to turn that down. I don't know if that was his decision or if that's his team's decision. The gym was kind of pushing him one way or the other, but that's an awesome thing that he's doing, because I think we see sometimes these younger fighters come in, and especially him having a lot of hype too. He was a former champ, and we've seen, look at Manel Kape. He just came in. He's a former champ at Ryzen. They threw him Alexander Pantoja right off the bat. Like, if you are a former champ, you have a lot of hype. The UFC has no problem putting you to the test early on, because if you catch fire early and you become that big thing, if he becomes a big Conor McGregor figure, I mean, that's just a cash cow for the next 10 years for the UFC.
Exactly. Almost like they threw Justin Gaethje to the wolves, didn't they? Come from lesser competition, as you say, the tin pots, but proves it wasn't all hype. Proves he could hang, and they do just blow up. Michael Chandler's just shown it as well. Bellator, obviously, he's well known. Paddy's well known on the UK circuit. Everybody knows Paddy, and he wants to bring the Scouts. He wants to bring Anfield, Liverpool Football Club. He wants to bring the UFC to a stadium, which is what Darren Till plans on doing. So we're going to see races there first. But if it happens, there's a lot of these Scousers on the card. There's a lot of English fighters ready to do it.
That would be incredible. And I feel like, as we're talking about some of these UK fighters, you're talking about a Darren Till main event or a Leon Edwards main event, and Paddy Pimblett's on it. Like, I'm sure that would definitely sell out in a heartbeat, which would be very cool. But Yeah, I'm curious to see, do you think, he's gonna get like a top 15 guy, or do you think they'll kind of start him off a little bit like an easier opponent to kind of get him in here into the UFC?
I think throwing him a top 15 person straight away would be an absolute mistake. I think the route, as you said before filming, that McGregor was on, he fought Brimage first. Brimage wasn't ranked at that point, but Brimage, everyone knew he had dangerous, fast hands. So it'd be a test for Conor. You need to give him a stylistic matchup that's going to test him, but also promote him and push him forward, because we know Paddy's going to get promoted here because of the way he talks, because of the way he looks with his, Oasis haircut. He's just outspoken. He's rude. He's brash, but he can fucking fight. And the UFC are going to promote him like Darren Till. He gets a good win, like a cowboy-esque win in the 145 division. You better bet they go and push him top 5 for a championship fight as quickly as they can.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the top 15, and it's like, do you want to throw him to a number 14 Edson Barbosa? No. Do you want to
No.
throw him to a 13 Bryce Mitchell? Like, that would be an awesome stylistic matchup because they're both great on the ground, but you don't want to see that right now. Shane Burgos, Sadiq Youssef is fighting Arnold Allen. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. So I think like a fringe 15, or even just kind of a gimme fight just to get him started, kind of build the hype up. That would be awesome. But I wanted to ask you a question. Did you see he fought Stevie Ray like in a grappling bout? Did you see that by any chance?
I have seen it, yes.
And he lost that, which was kind of tough. It was like a weird like heel hook that Stevie Ray landed. It was actually a pretty wild takedown they did in like slow mo.
Yeah.
But he does have a win over Julian Erosa, Juicy J, which is an awesome win. That was earlier on in his career. But
Yeah.
then he goes in and he lost to Stevie Ray, and I was like, well, is that going to be an issue? He already faced some UFC level talent, didn't really fare too well. Like, does that concern you at all? Do you think his grappling is just really amazing?
No, again, he's so young and it's so much inexperience, so much rush. These guys, they spend so much time on the mat. It's easy to overtrain. But at the end of the day, Stevie Ray's a great grappler. It's just a good matchup, and he just happened to lose it. But he's got some great wins on his record as well. Like, not just Soren back and fighting him. I know he lost, but that's a good fight to have because it was still close. He nearly finished it. But he's got a win over Ashley Grimshaw in 5 years ago when he was 21 years old. Ashley Grimshaw helped train Nathaniel Wood with Brad Pickett. They're elite level trainers now, like a Matt Brown almost, but in the UK. It's the talent he's got is you'll see it more in MMA, much more than Stevie Ray was. Stevie Ray couldn't put it all together, and that's functionally why he failed, whereas Pimblett doesn't. You'll see him shine in this now. Now he's ready. He accepted it for a reason. He called it out for a reason. He feels he's ready. His body's different. If you look back at the last couple of fights, look at his body for Saran Black and look at his body now for Martinez. It looks like a boy and a man. The change he's done is ridiculous. So it's exciting times for UK fans, especially me.
It is totally. It totally is, because we were just saying in our last video, you have Darren Till with the broken collarbone. Leon Edwards is getting Nate Diaz. Who the heck knows what's going to happen there? God forbid Leon loses and then drops down to like number 6 or something. Like because Dana White hates him. But yeah, no, for the UK fans, I think this is going to be massive, and it definitely opens up the market. And I think people are going to really like Paddy Pimblett here. If he catches some fire, like you said, he's got like the funny. He kind of looks like he should be in the Beatles. Like
Yeah.
his haircut and like the way
So
he talks, he has the
looking, yeah.
Darren. Yeah, he's got the Darren
Yeah.
Till, the accent, right? They have the same accent basically.
Yep. Both Liverpudlian, yep.
Yep. So that'll be a lot of fun for a lot of people, and I think the UFC could kind of use that. We need like a new villain, a new young guy who's going to come up and really
That's it.
charge
He
these.
will play the heel. He will play the heel,
Yeah.
and much like Till as well. When Till walked out in London, in Liverpool to Sweet Caroline, and the crowd went nuts, he will walk out to the house music, and it will blow the roof off, no matter where he is in the world.
All right. Well, I'm sold. I'm in. I'm all in. I know you were. It's funny because you brought it up like last week. You were talking about him, and then all of a sudden the UFC signed him. And then I started looking into him more, and it's like, okay, this guy, he can be polarizing. He's a really good fighter. So I'm going to be pulling for him. I'm officially a Paddy Pimblett fan, and by default, Coffee N KOs is now a Paddy Pimblett podcast. So every time he fights, we are definitely going to be rooting for him. I'll have to tell Zach and the crew about him.
Yeah, don't let them bet against. I get a lot of stick of the UK fans.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, we want to welcome the UK fans into the Coffee and KOs world. So we're pro Paddy Pimblett.
So,
Any other comments on Paddy the Baddy here?
all good for me, man. Paddy, watch out. 2022 run at a championship.
Absolutely. You heard it here first. Paddy Pimblett run at the championship 2022. He's 27 years old at that point, so he'll go on a crazy title run for many, many years and be the next big thing in the UFC. We will see. But thanks again for tuning in, everyone. We are at Coffee and KOs 1. You can find us on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube. We are streaming on all major podcast platforms. You can find Lewis at Norton_MMA. He's rocking the swag. He's got the hat. Can you buy the hat right now or no?
You cannot buy the hat. It's just for me right now, but in the future, yes.
All right, well, stay tuned for that, guys, and we will talk to you later.